What's going on, y'all? What's happening? What's popping? I'm your host, Sabir Aleem, and welcome to another episode of Daddy's Right Here Live. And live, y'all know I go, right? Yeah. Y'all gonna hear this beat back here so much that, right, it's gonna be ingrained in your mind. So when I do use it for a song, the beat's already gonna be there. Yeah, let me go get my mouse real quick. So happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Yeah, happy Father's Day to all of the fathers out there. All of them. Right, wrong, or indifferent. Happy Father's Day. You're probably sitting there looking like, yep, I think I'm going to switch from this show here because he's talking about Father's Day. We ain't even got to Mother's Day yet. We ain't even gotten to the month yet. And this dude talking about Happy Father's Day. That's because I believe that Father's Day is every day. And we need to recognize it as such. We need to celebrate it as such. Fathers get the poop end of the stick for everything. Males, period, man. We're just treated as such buffoons. We're just like worthless. The only thing that we're worth, seemingly, is to perform. Yeah, perform. Make babies, pay the bills, fix shit that's broken. That seems to be the only thing that men get not even credit for. But that's what we are supposedly conditioned to do in this society, man. Just watch all the commercials. Watch all the television programs. Watch all the sitcoms and see how males, especially fathers, being depicted. We know absolutely nothing. You know, we're not compassionate. We're not empathetic. All these things that we're not. But the question then is, well, what are we? Think about it. What are we worth to you? Got a whole lot to say about us. We fun-loving and great and wonderful, fantastic, you know, part of the conversation when you hook up with the girlfriends and all of that. But as soon as something goes to the left, now we're like demon seeds. We're just like, we shouldn't even be considered as human beings on earth. Tell me I'm lying. How do you spend a substantial amount of time with a person besides laying up in the bed? Right? Because that's the performance aspect that's expected of males in society. That's all. But I mean, just imagine, right? You've been with this person day in and day out. Y'all done smelt each other's morning breath. You done smelt each other's behinds in all capacities. Right? You've been here, you've been there, you've met the parents. You've done all of these things. Right? You've been wined and dined. But as soon as something goes wrong in the relationship, and it don't even have to be cheating, we see a whole different person. I've done absolutely nothing to my children's mothers, nothing to my ex-wives, and it's evidenced. It just didn't work. It just didn't work. And my brother, I remember him asking me some years ago, he said, bruh, how you, like, y'all not even together. Y'all divorced. Y'all were married and y'all not together, but y'all still have this, like, y'all cool. Because everything doesn't have to be that way. You choose for it to be that way. Let's get this right. You choose for it to be this way. Things end. Things began. Who started it? Who chased who? Who gave the first nod, the first blink, the first handshake, the first drink? Who gave it first? And then what were the expectations after that? Yeah, it was a deal there. It was something that you wanted from that person. Something that you wanted from that person. Even if you weren't the assertive one to pursue that person, right? You didn't resist. As much as you want to tell yourself you did, you didn't resist. You still gave in. I don't care how long. You held on for a reason. Every part of this process is just that. A process. Well, I don't want him to think this and I don't want him to think that. And, well, because if I do this, dudes do this and this, that, and the other, and the third, and all the other kind of stuff. But you went through all of that. You invested energy into that. You invested life, time, effort into all of that. Into all of that. We can reminisce just sitting on the porch. Just chilling on the porch, sitting on and reminiscing of all the great, wonderful times. As soon as something goes wrong, it's hell. You don't want to look at your own inadequacies. Right? You don't want to look at your own inadequacies. Yes, I was devastated. I was hurt deeply by those failed marriages. They were years. It was years in these marriages. The more you know, the more you grow, the time gets cut shorter. You stop putting that much time into it because realization should be happening. Yeah, it took 4 marriages for me to have a lot of realizations, a lot of hurt feelings. And I keep talking about it all the time, right? Like I was devastated by my marriage before the one I'm currently in, as to how that went. It's just like every when I look back, everything was always about conversations. Having the conversations, bringing resolve to things, not letting things just linger, not letting the same thing keep standing in the way of forward progress. When you argue about something more than once, that's a problem, right? If it shows up again. And it's even more of a deeper problem when it shows up a third time. We want to love it away. We want to sex it away. We want to gift it away. We want things to be our way, or the way that we conjured up in our mind in the terror dome. We conjured up all these things that, well, I think it should be this way. I think we should do this. But having said all that, the bottom line on it is, a lot of times we're not even together. We're just doing the do. And then when the pregnancy comes, it just changes everything. Obviously, there's a child involved. But the thinking doesn't change. The thinking doesn't say, I'm mom now. I'm a dad now. We're parents now. Nah, it doesn't even go to that. I can't. It seldom reaches that level. You can't bypass, sidestep if you're carrying a child. Obviously, that you're becoming a mother. But you're becoming a mother to the child, not to the child's father. That becomes one of the problems. You want to start dictating things and tell him to do this and tell him to do that based on your own expectations. But did you see any evidence of those expectations before this? Did you see evidence that they make a great dad? Did you see evidence of healthy communication between the two of you? Did you see evidence of there's a need to change some things? Because these things will be to our detriment. They will be to our detriment. Right? How many times do you enter into a relationship? Have you entered into a relationship given 100? without the expectations that they're like this person, they act like this person, or they give you this or they give you that. Another one of the problems in relationships. How many people are still talking about they getting ready, and they're in the process, and they ain't processing the process, and they've been doing that for years. How many? You saw all the signs, man, but nowhere in there. And there's statistics to prove it. There's statistics to prove it. But the abortion rate, especially in the black community, is pathetic. That's just what it is. It's pathetic. It's used like, nah, I don't want this one. Nah, I don't want that one. Oh. Then it's at that point that you begin to think of your life as you really want to have it to be. He was never a father image when you looked at him the first time. You thought the second look was going to give you a different lens. Did you think that was going to change? Did you think that he had the same vision that you had? Because he shook his head up and down all the time. Yeah, you know that happens before the first shot. After the first shot, it's like, it changes. But it changes for both people. Expectations change again. Once you have sex, y'all whining and dining, then you have sex, and when you're both totally nude, provided that's how the first time happened, but when you're both vulnerable, in the most vulnerable of conditions, especially the woman, when she has everything off of her body, where she's laying there in all her glory, it is the most vulnerable position. The most vulnerable position. And it's the same way, well, in terms of being vulnerable for a male. But remember, the focus on us is we have to produce. We have to produce, right? That's all we're worth. We have to produce. All right, let's go. Let's have it. That thing up. Let's go. And if you're not performing, you're not producing the vision that the partner had in her mind of what's about to go down, of what she wanted to go down. That's a lot of things that seemingly fall back to what the woman wants. And we've been groomed as males to keep trying to give the woman what she wants. And so often we wind up in a position of a passive-aggressive situation, whereas you're trying to please her, but losing the firmness that must be in the relationship. And then we find ourselves getting sucked in, and then we keep seeing that envelope getting pushed closer and closer to the edge just to see how we're going to respond. And then when we clap back, we're wrong. But you knew exactly what you were doing the whole step of the way. You ever have a situation where somebody just didn't tell you that they were pregnant? That somebody else had to tell you that they were pregnant? What do you think about that? Right? They never told you. Eventually they began to show. Eventually they begin to show. But you be with this person all the time, and not once did they say, hey, I'm pregnant. Did somebody else come along and tell you? Because apparently they didn't tell you, and they told him to tell you, because if they didn't tell you within a certain time limit, they were going to tell. So you told. that's already a form of alienation of the other parent. Because you're trying to decide now, after you done had 99 sessions, now you're trying to decide whether you're going to have this child with him. That's what, see, pregnancies have been relegated to just that. Let me think about it. You're already rolling the dice, and then you get in a situation where now you're expecting. Now it's like, do I tell him? No, well, it's my body. I can do what I want. See, we have a whole lot of that stuff that goes around, man. It just doesn't make sense. And you can't make sense out of it, but you do. It's a lie. And you know it's a lie. You know it's a lie. Where's the rightness in that behavior? Where's the fairness in that behavior? Where? That you just make a decision. Sure, it's your body. You can do what you want to do with your body. But you can't do anything you want and then they bringing the father in and having a conversation with the father. Whichever way it goes. But the respect of having the conversation should be first and foremost. Even if you got to give him the bad news of like, yo, listen, because you're going to have to deal with whatever comes conversationally. But then you have the conversation, right? Whatever the outcome of it is, you decide to have the child. But every step of the way, the father is being treated like a child. Well, you need to do this. You need to do that. Because we got to, and you, pump your brakes. Pump your brakes. I have some thoughts and some ideas and some beliefs about raising a child too. But if you never intended to stay together anyway, the conversation is nothing but an argument. It's a debate. Because I'm going to do what I want to do. Where does that make sense? Come on now. Where does any of that make sense? It don't make sense to you. It don't make sense to the father. And it sure as hell don't make sense to the child. A 5-year-old can tell you that. Hell, my 3-year-old can tell you that don't make sense. That there's a mommy and there's a daddy. So how do you, the so-called adult, make the decision that that's not the same mathematics that they get in school? 1 + 1 = 2. 2 + 1 = 3. Well, you start doing the subtracting. For what? You loved me to death a minute ago, and then as soon as the results came back on this, it's like the whole world shifted. Where does that benefit the child? Where does anything you're doing benefit the child? If I'm a hope to die dope fiend, if I'm a Botany 500 CEO, it doesn't matter. Whatever I bring, I bring. Whatever my capacity is my capacity. What makes you think your capacity is like above mine? Because you carried the child? That means that you're an expert now? I know people who have 7, 8, 9 kids and are foolish still in their practices, in their actions, in their expectations. And the children are just running amok, holding hands with the devil himself. But as soon as things go wrong, you need to call that father. I need that father now. You wait until hell is unleashed, and then you want to tell the father again, talk to him like he's a child. Talk to him like he's the child. And want to tell him what he needs to do. But yet you took everything away from me in keeping the child away from me from the beginning. You upped and relocated, moved with your girlfriend somewhere where I didn't know that they were. Moved with Aunt Mary or somebody. And just took the child with you because you didn't think that I was deserving. For whatever reason. I'm working too much. I'm not working enough. I'm not working at all. I can't work at all. I just don't have it together. But I had it together enough to lay up with you Monday through Sunday. Now I'm not good enough now. Now all of a sudden I became not good enough. And you made that decision. The same person who made the decision to lay up with me without protection day after day after day after day. The same person who now thinks that no, I'm not keeping it. And it's not for health reasons, it's just because of what you think. But how much thinking did you do prior to that? Look at all of your thinking errors, but yet still I'm the problem. I'm the problem. All by my little. Excuse me. I'm the problem. It seems to me like both of us have some errors in thinking that need to be addressed. That's what it seems like to me. So how do I become like just like downright dumb, stupid, and unworthy because you say that, but you're not looking at your own conduct. So you take my child away from me. But you didn't think none of those things about me before. How such a drastic change because y'all? No, it's not because y'all. Because you. All these children out here, no relationship at all. And then when we do, you still whispering. Sweet nothings. You see the relationship changing. Your fear begins to kick in because you think that the child is going to ask you some questions. That the truth is going to come out for some. For some, they just don't even care. Because you done told them so much. It's like, I just know he's no good. I know he's no good. Mommy said so. Mommy said so. Mommy's right. All the time. But why are y'all going back and forth with each other about the smallest things all the time? How right can she possibly be? Or did you just realize that she's a human being? So if she's a human being, she's a woman. So you take sides already there because you don't want to see mommy cry because mommy's always crying. Every time she's talking to you on the phone, she gets off and she's crying and she's boo-hooing, crying, and it's this ugly snotting thing going on because she's telling you about how bad daddy is, how daddy won't do this, how daddy won't do that. And well, mommy, what happened? In the comment, well, he cheated. Okay. Well, that's his wee-wee that he decided to give to the wee-wee. He gave it to others. Okay, you got that. You won't be giving it to me. So, but you are still the father. Right now, you want to go back to talking to the man like he's a child. Who has the issue, you or him? It sounds like you have the issue. That you can't get over the fact that he did what he did. You need to get over the fact that he did what he did. Plain and simple. All men don't. But if you never had one, how would you know that? If you never sat down and you tried to learn about this person and from this person and not from the past of others, which ain't got nothing to do with, right? Make it make sense. That's all I'm saying to you. Make it make sense. Don't talk through anger. Let's take a reality check. And most people, when I do classes, I tell you, it ruffles people's feathers real quick. Because people don't want to take ownership and responsibility for what they do. And doing nothing is what you do. not making any kind of eye-to-eye contact. See, guilt, shame, and embarrassment is something fierce, man. And when you humiliate yourself, right? Let me talk about that for a minute. When you humiliate yourself and just connect with somebody just because you want a shot, right? Shot wasn't good. It was half-assed. Whatever it was. After those 15 minutes of fun were over, you sitting there looking like, why did I do this? Days pass. Why did I do this? So you went from the shame, guilt, and embarrassment from having sex with this person and just wasn't worth all that. Then you find out you're pregnant, and now it's another this. Then you got to go through the decision-making process without him, right? A father is a father. A mother is a mother. It don't matter. None of us have any perfected parenting skills, guidance. People are going to tell you, don't do this, don't do that. We grew up in the 60s. We know what we got what with anything that was nearby. Those who come up after that, you know, some, oh no, you have to, can't leave any marks. So we start finding new innovative ways to whoop our children's asses, and they call it the tongue. So it's like all of that kind of stuff that happens. And you know, the reality of it is none of these children's services do a damn thing. They come and take your child and give your child to somebody else for money. And we think trafficking is so bad, but we do it all the time within our children's services systems. That's what it is. It's trafficking. Call it what you want. It's child trafficking. You're taking my child because of something that you decided that I should not be doing to my child. I am 100% against child abuse. How many times do you look at TV and you see these ratchet-ass teens running up around in the community? You would say it's their parents' fault, because it is their parents' fault, because you should know where your child is first and foremost. But the other side to that is when I come to you for help, you tell me, hey, we can't help you. And this is across the board. It's been across the board. I lived in Philly all of my life. I've lived in Delaware. I've lived in New Jersey. I now live in Florida. None of these children's services help you. I've had them come to my home in Florida at least 4 times trying to get help for a child, substance abuse, and all those things going on. Nothing. Went and stood in front of a judge. Judge told me, hey, do this, this, this. Nothing, right? Nothing. Same way in Philly, my grandson. His mom called them, need help. No. Well, they told her, same thing. He's not in the system. There's nothing we can do to help him. He's a teen. He's dead now. And the list goes on and on and on. But you will come based on a phone call somebody made and come to my home and say, oh, well, we got a call to this, that, the other. Okay, well, look. What's the issue? There is none. Okay. Oh, well, somebody said, so somebody said can cost you your career because somebody said, and because whoever's taking a call is not taking the call the right way. They're just simply taking the call. Somebody called and said this, that, and the other. You're supposed to be analyzing the call. You're supposed to be making an evaluation as to what kind of visit should actually happen to the home. Then you further violate people's rights by bringing law enforcement. Law enforcement has nothing to do with a call that was made to a call center and that you bring police to people's house. The purpose of law enforcement being involved is if there is a situation where the person from the state comes and they're feeling some level of discomfort, like they may be attacked or something like that, but you shouldn't be in that business, because the reality of it is that's going to happen with or without you. It's a violation. It's a difference between policy and practice, and make sure y'all understand that. There's a difference between policy and practice. There's nothing, and I looked it up, in the state of Florida, there's nothing in their policy, the state's policy, One supersedes the others. Why aren't you bringing state police? Why are you bringing local police? Why are you bringing police at all? Because one thing can turn into something else. You brought law enforcement into my house. It's a whole big thing that happens. Because now you brought law enforcement to my home, in my home. Right? It's an intimidation technique. Doesn't that sound like trafficking to you? You bring law enforcement in with you to ensure safe passage for you, but then you want to get slick with your mouth. And then you think law enforcement has the right to step in. No, they don't. It's not even their jurisdiction. It's a state issue. You bring state police. You don't bring local police. But it's the practice. It's not policy. So when you're confronted with certain things, look up the policy. Ask for the policy. Ask for the policy. See, I'm not intimidated by anyone, let alone it being law enforcement. I'm not intimidated by anyone. Right? Mind you, here in Florida, Riviera Beach, I've never had any issue with police. I don't have those issues. They had that issue since back in 1970, whatever it was. Simply saying no. But these are some of the things that you have to begin to know, because they're gonna always do stuff, man. The interviewers that came here in Florida came here and wanted to tell me that I told them, well, I'm recording this. Well, no, I would ask that you don't. Well, your own pamphlet right here that you should be giving me before the conversation so I know what my rights are. Explain it to me what my rights are. But instead, what you do is you go the back door. You come in wanting to tell me about the call and just go right into your investigation. No, you go into what the call was. You tell me what my rights are. You let me see the pamphlet. If you have the right to do this. None of them, 4 visits, none of them ever did that. And then they hand it to you afterwards. Again, that's trafficking. It's trafficking. Because what you're doing is you're luring a person in, haven't told them what their rights are. I don't even have to have a conversation with you. I don't. I call for a lawyer, it's a wrap. You don't see any evidence of anything here. You got to call. You got to call. What you got was a call. Somebody told you. You don't start treating people automatically like they committed a crime. You don't do that. We ask them for help. So, but you go through all of these different things, right, with your children, and all we ask for is help, and we don't get help. Right? But then we have a mother out there who's keeping a father from his child who needs help. But because she can't move past some stuff, our child is on TV doing that, whatever that chaotic stuff they call, whatever it is that they're doing. Some kind of purge or some kind of shit. Right? And then everybody's sitting there watching the child. We're trying to get help for the child. You have a father who would step in, but the only time you want the father to step in is when you want the father to chastise the child, not love the child. Where do you think these kids come from who are out there in the street doing what they're doing? Even for those who are not involved, they're still part of the chaos because they responded to the call. And they're present. Therefore, they are included. Sure, you can take it to court, but do you have court money? Your child was present during all of this. Why was your child down at the mall? 8 o'clock at night. Which is 26 miles from your house. Why are they down here? I didn't know. She said she was going with her friends. He said he was hanging out with the boys. Why don't you know where your folks hang? There's a lot of things that we can talk about that go on with the child. And it's things that happen that don't have to happen. But because you're still mad? Because you slept with your girlfriend? Okay, well, you didn't pay attention to the signs. You shouldn't have had your girlfriend all up in his face every time y'all had. He don't belong in here with you and your girlfriend sitting in there chilling. Y'all don't need to be going all these places. That's something you set up. You knew you had a dog when you bought him. You knew that. Well, hell, what you tell our child, man, it seems like you knew that for a long time, but you were still sleeping. You didn't talk to her about that part? You didn't tell the child that? Oh, you didn't tell that part? Oh. No. See, we don't tell the whole story. And I'm telling you all of this because this article is from Provinciano and Associates, family law attorneys site. They have a whole article on here that was written by Alphonse Provinciano, Esquire. Yeah, he wrote this. It's a whole article. The 17 signs of parental alienation you shouldn't ignore. See, so all these things that are happening, right? You're going to get a call, but you've never been able to be involved the whole time. You're going to get a call. You're going to get a call. Yeah. I got a call. See, my children were much younger. That something was happening. And that my daughter was at a place. Like, what? Okay. Apparently, saw evidence of something that, but they thought it was evidence of something. They saw marks on her. And they thought that, I mean, it was all cleared up. But during that process, like, I had to make a decision in terms of custody. You can't tell one child, well, I need to take you from this because of this and because of what this is over here happening. Then you can't go do this, and well, I'm going to take one, and I'm not going to take all because that's it's like a difficult message to send. Like, well, this is the one that seems to be under fire right now, so I'm going to take this because that's what is asked to be done, not because it was anything malicious happening on my behalf or any of those things. But I got treated like, like I had done something by the other parent. Like, wait a minute, I'm here because of this. You still in this mindset because you're not seeing where what you're doing can keep us both from keeping the child. She has to stay with me. I have a place for her to sleep. All that, had a whole bedroom and all that stuff for her. So why are you acting this way toward me? I should just let it. I just let it go where it's going to go because you don't want to do anything about it. I never accused you of anything. That's what they said. So I'm taking responsibility as a father. But then you turn around and make an allegation about me. Right? So you flip the whole script. So I got one who we do not want the child there right now. Then you're going to create the same thing for the other parent. Like, that didn't make sense. So now they looking at you because of this. Now you got them looking at me. And then they begin to look at me and like, what they, they came through like, nah, I don't know. I said, listen, but you get mad and you do these kind of things where we both can lose the child. We both can find our child somewhere else. And just because somebody said, you respond to what somebody said because I have to now because of, wait a minute, but nobody called about me. They called about her here. And now you want, And that don't sound like child trafficking? Somehow or another, the child always winds up pulled out of the home. The child always winds up in an institution of some kind. The child always winds up having to be visited through glass, through bars, with other people sitting around watching, simply because you can't move past your stuff. What does that have to do with you? What did it have to do with you? Okay, I turned out not to be the father that you think I should be. So you take my child from me? Like this is like a Monopoly game? Like we're playing, Mousetrap or something? Like, what do you think this is? That it's okay to do that to a child? Because you're not doing it to me. I'm taking it personal. Because I think you are doing it to me. Because you're not even thinking about how I feel about the decisions that you made. Never ask me the question. Because it goes back to, it's my body, I do what I want to do. That's my child. Do you hear what you're saying? Would you talk to me like this in front of the child? Some parents do. Some parents do. And the child is making sense out of the nonsense that you're saying and seeing where dad is coming from, but you keep in dad's head. You keep the child thinking because you're always in their head about dad. So you keep forcing them to go back and forth, vacillating within themselves. Then they just make a decision like, the hell with the both of y'all. And then they go live their lives and running rampant in the damn streets because you can't even act like a mother. You act like a scorned woman. You act like a child. But you keep talking to dad like he's a child. And if you're sitting there now in your feelings, that's fine. I don't care. I'm telling you like it is. I'm telling you what it's been. Listen, I'm no spring chicken. I've been around. I've been faced with so many these situations where being alienated seems to be the first thing that so many mothers do because they can't get past their stuff. I don't want you having this person around my child. It's our child. Listen to what you're saying. It's an object. It's a human being. It's a human being. You made the decision. Move on. Move on. If he's the one that leaves you, it's even worse for him because you have a child. But look at how you're acting. Look at how you're acting. When a man gets to a point where he can no longer express his feelings in words, he goes what he knows best. He lets some of that rage out. And that's what you want, because then that puts him away. Because that satisfies that little inner knowing that you can't let go of. But meanwhile, you've moved on too. But now you want to act this way toward him. You change how you act towards the father because you got some new dudes. So you let some Negro come along and change your thinking about what we gonna do, and that he ain't gonna be coming over here like that. That's his child, and you allow it. That's the thing. You allow it. Well, my new dude said you can't. That he don't want you coming over here and this, that, and the other. And well, let me talk to the Negro, because you ain't gonna stop me from coming to see my child. I'm not coming. I mean, and why shouldn't I be able to come in your home, brother? It's my child. That's your dude, and he has that mindset, and you're okay with that. So that's what you want. You want a dude who thinks like that, a dude who wants to tell you that he can't, that she can't, and we can't, and if what, I'm gonna leave. So you don't want him to leave, but you want to hurt your child. So you got to keep inconveniencing everybody to satisfy this dude, and you okay with that. So your thinking hasn't changed from the first time, like when we got together. And that's why we're not together. But then when I want to be responsible, you don't want the responsible dude. You want this dude over here, the knucklehead. right? The knucklehead. That's what you want. You want the knucklehead. It's a lot that needs to be addressed. But like so many other things, we never have a real conversation. Everybody wants to have a superficial conversation. Meantime, your child is in pain. Meantime, child is suffering. Meantime, child enters into adulthood with the same conditioning that you aided in. You made my fight even harder because you wanted me to lose. You wanted me to lose. I just let your ass go. I'm not going to keep going back and forth. I'm going to go to court and keep on moving. I don't care about new dude, old dude, any dude. I don't care about none of that stuff. Right? I'm going to do things according to the letter of the law. And if you get hurt, you get hurt. Period. I was incapable of doing that when I first started having my children. I didn't carry them, all that, but hell, I didn't straighten up to 94. My children were born 80, 85, 86. Right? I'm not afraid to say it. I was out of my damn mind. It's pretty much a bum. I owned nothing, had nothing. All my stuff was in a lawn and leaf bag and maybe one of the smaller tall can bags. That's all my stuff moved. Everywhere I moved, it moved. Every time I moved, I lost more shit, and so on and so forth. And that's who I was. I didn't hide it. Didn't conceal it. Didn't conceal that I was about that life. I didn't conceal it. You met me. I was at the club. You met me. I mean, I worked at the club. I was the DJ. You met me. You copped from me. Just kind of, the list goes on and on. All the things that you see, and you don't say nothing about it then. I didn't hide who I was. You wanted what you wanted. I wanted it too. So how come I'm not included in the conversation? It didn't matter. The conversation wouldn't matter because every conversation goes amicably. Before. Then afterwards, it's like we talk to each other like dogs, seemingly. Like, yeah, whatever. No, I got something to do. Okay, how good it is. You got what you want because, again, your expectation from a male is that he performs. Males are just considered performers. Not nurturers, caretakers, not passionate, empathetic, understanding, patient, have some level of tolerance for certain things. We don't value one another's existence. And then we bring a child into this world, and what kind of existence do they have? I don't think in that level, man. Shit, you got help. You got help. You got a whole weekend you want to go spend out with your friends or your family, whatnot, but you got to take the kids. Now, at the last minute, you want to make that call, and the first thing happened when you say, "Well, you just called me now. I can't." Right? That's why I don't call it. We don't have that conversation. We don't talk about that. We don't talk about how we act. We don't talk about how we talk to one another. When I stopped calling my first wife outside of her name, because that's the kind of stuff I used to do. That's who I was. When I stopped talking to her on the phone and just banging on the phone and start saying, "Hey, listen, we ain't going nowhere with this. We're going to talk later. All right, I'll talk to you later." That's better than, what did you say? Bam. When I started becoming mature, coming into maturity, I was 24 years old when I had my first child. Been on the street, my own, since I was 15. Just in the street, in the street, in the street. Not doing nothing to hurt nobody. Just wanted to be free. Right? Didn't know this, didn't know that. And I'm okay with that. That's my capacity. try to hide what I couldn't do. This is what I was. This is who I didn't. You saw me. You hung out with me. You talked to me. Did you ask the questions about, hey, being a father? And did you know my father was absent? Did you know any of those things? No, it didn't matter because that's not what you was on. You weren't on that chase. Just like buying a box of cereal that has a gift in it. It's like buying a box of Cracker Jacks. Now you open it up, you want the toy. That's what you wanted. But you didn't use protection. And I'm going to keep having that same conversation. I'm going to keep having that same statement come out of my mouth. You did not use protection. What gives you the right? Because you didn't use protection to start bashing me. Instead of simply saying, you know what? First of all, I know what it was with me and him. That's what it was. So I need to do this. You need to wrap that thing up. I need to make sure that happens. I need to make sure that the first time that thing supposedly slips off, pops, whatever the case is, that we don't do it again. Because it's game. Some dudes out there want to just put you on lockdown. And there you are, 3 babies later on lockdown. Because he don't want this and he don't want that, and you allow him to do that. Then nobody else wants to be a part of your life. Want to tell dudes like, got to have a strong back to deal with me because my baby daddy. Listen, I'm not even walking into nothing like that. It's not about strong back. It's about what makes sense. About what makes sense. I ain't walking into nothing like that. No, that's the game you play with him. I ain't doing time for no stupidity. For what? That's what you allow. He wouldn't do it if you didn't allow it. You set boundaries, put it in check. But you put yourself in that position. You don't want no bothersome with him, but you let him run your life. You're not with him, but you are, because you continue to sleep with him because he blocking. Ain't nothing on the street worth going through none of that. Nothing. Right? So you look at all these things that you do, you got to look at what alienation looks like. So we started on the list of 17, and we're not going to cover all 17. But we started on 1. The child repeats adult language or accusations that clearly are not their own. You know how people talk. Like if my wife typed a letter for me to somebody else, somebody who knows me would know whether or not I wrote it. I don't speak that way. See, and when you have in your mind that a person speaks a particular way, culturally, and I'm not one of those cultural speakers, those cultural speaking people. Cultural. I should speak a certain way. I should this and I should that. So it's easy to determine whether or not I wrote it, whether something I actually said or it was actually written for me because of how I speak. But you know how your child speaks. Like, where you learn? What? Facilitating. What? What do you mean facilitating a meeting? Well, mommy said that we was going to go to court and that somebody was going to be there to do this, and that they would make a decision. Why does the child know all of that? Number 2 on the list, the child refuses or avoids contact without a clear personal reason. And the only way it comes back to the dad is that, I don't want to see you. I don't want to talk to you. That's what they said. And then when we ask the question, well, why? I don't know. You're the one that left. Hold on. We're trying to help our child. Why does the child not want to come see me? They've been coming. Why do they want to come see me now? Oh, you got Mr. Jimmy there all the time now. So you, Mr. Jimmy, y'all done formed your little happy place. And now that's what it, because you've already done everything you possibly can to keep the child away from me, not liking me because of where you and I fail. So now Mr. Jimmy, the new dude, done became a part of your life. So now y'all going all these places. And now they done forgot about me because you haven't said anything good about me. You haven't said anything decent about me since we parted ways. So you make it look like this person is more favorable than me. How do you think that makes me feel? It doesn't matter. Nobody thinks about men's feelings. You just say things out your mouth, little slick things, little disrespectful things out of your mouth, uncaring, unempathetic things you just say out of your mouth because you want to continue to hurt me. But you're hurting our child. Because again, none of that existed before the breakup. For whatever reason we broke up, it doesn't matter. Who taught you that because you and I are not together anymore, because I violated your trust in this relationship, that we don't see each other, we don't have any kind of connection? So you won't talk about you and your inability to let things go. You won't talk about your own inadequacies, but you want to magnify all of my shortcomings to make it look like it was really about me, when it was about decisions that came from both of us. But you want mine to outweigh yours so you can be parent of the year. I can be the one because I can't let my child see that I'm weak. I can't let my child know that I've done these things and that, well, yeah, it was me too. Because if it was me, then I got to add you into the equation because you made me do it. You made me go be with somebody else because of how you treated me. But it wasn't the case before the pregnancy. Now it's this whole new thing that you have to stand on something. You can't tell your child the truth, you know? And then we have these children today who don't understand their feelings, can't express their own feelings. Therefore, it's just rage inside of them, especially for our males. Because it always comes down to, he left. But why did he leave? Because you want to talk to him like he's the child. Total lack of respect for men. We don't want love, we want respect. You love you all of a sudden. No, you got to follow it up with respect. How you talk to me, what it is that you say to me. Hold on, TikTok got this whole puzzle thing. I don't know why you want me to play with puzzles in the middle of shows. I don't know how you not detect somebody sitting in front of a damn camera talking. TikTok. Could you explain that one? So, if the child begins to avoid contact, right, or refuses or avoids contact without a clear personal reason, we need to have a conversation. We need to have a conversation. Hey, listen, you don't wait until the second or third time it happens. When it first happens, you need to get some information. You need to get some clarity. And it's very hard when you have a resistant parent, when you have an angry other parent, that's all they want to do. I don't know, you need to ask. It's a child. You know what you're acting like right now? Well, that's what that is. But this is the one that's unlearned. You're supposed to be the one with some level of maturity and being learned enough to know that, hey, so this is what he told me. This is what she said. Matter of fact, I do one better. Let me get the phone and let you talk to him. Let you talk to her. That's how you problem solve things. But all that little extra stuff, don't nobody want to hear that. And you wonder why every time I come, I'm all balled up because you got this attitude about you that just makes me want to. But no conversation. No conversation. Right? Number three. The child insists the rejection is entirely their decision. How did you make a decision that you didn't want to? I mean, did I do something? So I just want to know how you made the decision. How the decision was made for you to decide you don't want to come over here anymore. Was it something I said, something I did? You don't like Miss Mary? What is it? And a lot of times they don't like the new person that the father's with, especially if you got a girl, the father is with another woman. Right? That don't set well with them at all. Why couldn't you make it work with mommy? Because mommy said this and mommy said that, and you left us to go with, and here you done started a new family. What did you want me to do? See, I'll have a conversation. This is how this went. What your mother tells you is what your mother tells you. I'm not going to get into a back and forth within you that you decide to have this fight within yourself about whether mom is telling the truth or whether dad is telling the truth. Oftentimes, the person who has primary physical custody is the person who stays in the child's head, trying to keep themselves, and because they don't want to lose the child. And it's okay. You're not going to lose the child. See, you got to work through all that stuff within yourself. But you got to tell the truth. That's why these children are clueless today, because you don't want to tell them the damn truth. You didn't want to tell them the truth. I remember when one of my daughters, we were sitting there watching TV and a commercial came on with this girl frolicking through the field of daisies. And it was for tampons. And the girl was so happy, and she was just in my daughter turned around and said, "Dad, what are tampons?" I can tell her what tampons are. I'm not going to gotta ask your mother that. No, why should I do that? Because there are women who think that it's their right to tell a little girl about those things. So I told her because she asked me. I told the mother what she had asked, thinking I'm doing something great, discussing it with you, letting you know, and all this stuff like this. Listen, so I'm saying okay, I'm confused. I only told her because she asked me. I didn't make it my business, and she turned this into a whole big thing. You just wanted to tell her. Right, listen, are you feeling some level of guilt about something? Because what does it have to do with me? But it's the kind of stuff that we encounter as fathers all the time, unnecessarily. We're talked to like children, like only you know how to raise a child. Like only you know how to take care of a child. No, that's not how you're going to talk to me. You're not going to talk to me like that. So you got to get the wording. You got to understand what the child is saying. Why are you saying you don't want this? And sometimes you press too fast, right? Sometimes you need to fall back because it could be a momentary feeling. It's something temporary they're going through right now, some shifts. Because children go through all these shifts, man, when we separate. So many decisions they have to make that are being made for them. Yeah, being made for them. Number 4, the child acts as if loving you would betray the other parent. I just got finished talking about that. Right? Yeah. I love my dad. I love my dad. I love my dad. I love my dad. Where's my dad? Why is my dad not here? And they witness things and they make their own interpretation about the interaction. They hear the phone calls. They see the face-to-face, and they see why are you leave my dad alone? Ain't bothering you. What are you complaining about now? They say it themselves. They hear it themselves. They hear what you say. And as they get older, they begin to learn the difference in behaviors. And they be like, look, that behavior is not proper. First of all, you're teaching me that behavior is not proper, but you're doing it. I'm driving with you in the car and I see the rage. You're on the phone with my dad. I'm hearing you this MF this, and then you're talking to your mother about this MF this and this MF that, and then I'm hearing you talk to your girlfriend this MF this and this MF that. Then I'm hearing you talk to your new dude on the side who you don't think I know about this MF this and this MF that. He believes you because he's stupid. He's not asking the question of himself. Why is she this way? What is this? But you don't care about none of that. You don't think he just wants what he wants from you. And you're going to be in the same position again with him. Now you have not just one, now you have 2, 3, 4 fathers. Not looking at yourself, not looking at what it is that you need to do different. Because it ain't your fault. It ain't my fault. He irresponsible. It is. You're right. It isn't your fault that he's irresponsible. But when did God die and leave you in charge? Miss Perfect? Think about it. Your child is suffering. Dude done moved on with his life. He done got remarried. He done relocated. Just to get away from you. Most of the times, we just want to get away from you. We want our peace. You want us to keep struggling with you because you keep struggling within yourself. So you want to keep making us struggle because you don't know how to get through your own damn struggles. I don't want no parts of that. I don't want no parts of that. Because now you're just hell-bent on making my life miserable. Because you're miserable. Because this ain't your first rodeo in a failed relationship. You haven't improved in any capacity. Somewhere along the line, you think you the shit. And that you won't get walked out on. Because you keep pushing the envelope. You get a guy like me who's accommodating, patient, so on and so forth. Nah, I'm not repeating that again. I'm not repeating that. Yeah. I'm not repeating that. I'm very direct in what I say. My boundaries are very clear. I'm not doing the back and forth. I've learned throughout all these years, you can't gift it away. You can't sex it away. You can't love it away. You can't do anything. A person has to already be in a stage of transformation within themselves. I can't take your pain away. I don't try to do it. I don't try to do it. That's not my role. It is not my role with you. My role with you is to accentuate that which resides within you that you are pursuing. You want peace? So do I. I need to see how you go about getting your peace. And what peace means to me doesn't mean the same to you. You have to fix you. I ain't got time to try to fix you and me. I'm working on myself. I've tried that. It doesn't work, fellas, folks. It doesn't work. There's nothing that you can do to bring about change in a person's behavior. They have to already be desiring to do that. They have to want help with that. Ain't no sense to keep trying to argue over the same thing. We shouldn't be arguing every other weekend about the fact that I see the kids every other weekend, but now you want to do this. No. No. Ask me before you plan it. You know that's my time. Ask me. Let's have a conversation. Can we switch up? Yeah. No problem. You don't have to deal with me beyond that. We're parents. All this using a third party to talk to me because you're not woman enough, grown up enough, mature enough, civil enough to just have a conversation. We had a bad relationship. It didn't work out. We failed at it. It didn't work out. Why did somebody have to lose? We don't have win-win situations with one another. It's always a win-win situation, right? I came to the conclusion that I need to leave from this situation. It's not healthy for me. It brings out all the wrong things in me. Everything that I try to, manage in my life, you trigger it. I can't do this anymore. I'm going to move on. Let me tell you something. You can keep doing it over and over and over again, and you're going to keep having that same conversation over and over again. Now you have to look at you. Like, why do I keep allowing this to happen over and over again? Then you begin to realize you're a caretaker. You're an enabler. You want something to so desperately work that's not going to ever work. But you don't want to see her cry. I hate to see a woman cry. Especially if I know. But I know that I can. I can say things out of my mouth because I'm an intellectual that changes the whole course of how everything goes. I know I can do that. I don't want to go through none of that. I'd just rather not. That's too much energy. When I lock into that, when I lock onto something like that, it takes away everything else that I'm doing. It's an interruption. I don't want that in my space. So it's about setting boundaries. So the child acts as if you would betray, they would be betraying you. The child acts as if loving you would betray the other parent. And ultimately what they try to do is they try to avoid showing that I really love my father. Because they're afraid. They're afraid because then you'll think, oh, why you love him? Because I'm not supposed to love him because you don't love him because you're angry with him. So I'm supposed to not love him and be angry, with him too because of whatever he did to you. What happened to me as the father doesn't matter. Number 5, the child suddenly rejects your extended family without personal reasons. Number 6, the child believes you are dangerous without any real life basis. And and a lot of times, man, that's something real big especially when it comes to domestic violence. I am anti-domestic violence. Not for it, leave. No, and I mean no, leave. Leave. Period. If it gets you to that point, leave. Plain and simple. Leave. Leave now. Because you are going to prison. Or you're going to die. Somebody in that house is going to die. Leave. It's not going to be any different. It's not going to be any different. Right? Go through the court process. Set up your visitation. Stay away from that situation because every time you encounter that situation, you got another restraining order. It's compromising your living, your continued freedom. It's compromising your career if you have one. It's compromising your job. It's compromising that relationship that you're fighting for. Leave. Listen, it won't be forever. Leave the situation alone. Go through the courts. Hold them accountable to what the court orders say. Just leave. It's not going to get better. You're already angry. Be angry and have some peace and go through the court process. 7, your calls, messages, and gifts are blocked, hidden, or discarded. 8, important school, medical, or activity information is withheld from you. That's a big one. It's like, well, why didn't you tell me he was a diabetic? Well, I got it covered. He gets the medication. He takes his medication, so on and so forth. And the times he's got to take the medication, he's not there with you anyway. So, he's here. I'm not giving him the medication. I think you need to know that. He's being taken care of. Yeah, he got in trouble at school, but I don't need to come to you for everything. He got suspended because he was running his mouth, on the phone in school. And he shouldn't have had his phone. So I got to call and tell you that. I would like to know what's going on with my child because I need to help change that behavior too. Yeah, well, I didn't think it was important. Okay. The child starts talking like a lawyer or repeating court language. Yeah, you're going to be held in contempt next week when you go to court. Yep, because you don't know how to shut up. What? Yeah, you keep talking when the judge keep hitting the gavel and telling you to be quiet and you go to jail. The child stops using mom or dad and uses your first name instead. That's a hurt piece. That hurts. That hurts. Yeah. Yeah, that hurts. Yeah. Number 11, the child is used as a messenger or spy between parents. Oh yeah, we know that. That's a big one, right? Don't take none of these lightly. They are signs. They're signs. You don't drive up the highway without watching the signs. Speed limits, yields, mergers, exits. A whole lot of things to look up for, the signs. Yeah. Number 12, the child shows no guilt or mixed feelings about rejecting you. Imagine what a child has to go through in order to get to the point of just, it's what it is. All right. And I talked about this on I think the last show. Like I didn't miss my father. I didn't grieve my father's absence. So when I sought to have a relationship with him, I was in the mode of, well, he can give me money, help me with this or help me with that financially. It's like, you're a grown ass man. You got a job. Like, why are you going to your father's job, meeting him this, and get money from him for like what? Some payment for something? Why? Why do we always begin there? Like, he bought me some money, boss, so now you happy. But yeah, he bring me money, he drop off something, but he ain't never really been. Well, you didn't know that was missing until somebody told you. I didn't see anything missing. I mean, he was there. I didn't want to go see him either. I told my mother I didn't want to go see him, and she didn't make me go see him. She hated him because he was violent. But he became violent when he started drinking. He wasn't a drinker before. So again, another part to his story. Another part to his story. Right? If you want to know, ask. But don't ask if you don't want to know. Don't ask like because you're seeking to bring some resolve within yourself. Don't ask because, you're just going to take the information he gives you and put it under your thumb anyway. What are you asking for? So I had a great relationship with him when I just, hey, what's up, Dad? Okay. All right. Shit happens in life. Okay. All right. Yeah. Right. So you have to look at those kind of things, man. If you don't have a relationship with yours, like, come on, man. Yeah, I counsel so many dudes throughout the years. Oh man, I don't mess with dude. Nah, he was in the cell block down the hall from me. So. But you get to that point, you have those mixed feelings because you don't know if you should or shouldn't because somebody's been in your ear for so long. Or somebody's been out of your life for so long, like it don't even matter. And you don't even know that it does matter. Because that's your father. That's your mother. One's the seed, one's the egg. You think that's insignificant? 23 chromosomes from each. You think that's insignificant? No, it's all significant. It's just having the conversation. I don't know what you're supposed to be looking for. Right? We look for all these things that society keeps saying, well, this is what you get from here and this is what that. No, it's beyond that. Because that's the same thing you're looking for from everybody else around you. What you're looking for from a parent is different. But where did you get that from? Who told you that that's what a parent does? Who told you that I had the capacity to do that? I never learned that. I didn't know anything about that. So now I'm a bad parent? Because I don't know a damn thing? And that makes sense to you. Because you know everything. Because you carried your child for 9 months. So you know everything about being a good parent. You just failed at being a good person. How good of a person are you being? Again, I asked the question. When you're laying up with somebody who you know absolutely nothing about or who you think you know and never asked about being a father, and here you are pregnant by me. Now you got all this shit to say about me. Come on. You want to talk? Let's talk. Don't have these old thin skin conversations and then want to run and get in your feelings and start cussing me out for what I'm saying. I'm telling you the truth, and you know it's the truth. Number 13, the child is pressured to choose between parents. Yeah. How do you pressure a child? The child is pressured by the situation itself. Because they don't know what's going on other than what you're telling them. Because he's not here, so he gets all the beating up on. He ain't here, he left. He can't handle. He wanted to go be with her. No, I want to be away from you. I want to be away from you. This relationship just ain't working. Accept it. It's not a good place. We argue every day. I'm not going to live like that. And I'm not going to bring a child into that environment either. So, you're pregnant. Here's my address. Here's my phone number. You know where all my people live. Right? So you can't tell me that you didn't know how to reach me because you were connected with my people. So to say, here's the number, this is where I'm at, how difficult could that be? Here's my address. How difficult could that be? If that's what you wanted for your child. You didn't want to bet what was best for your child. You don't even know what's best for your child. You don't know what's best for you. That's why you're in the condition you're in. Because you don't know what's best for you. People who know what's best for themselves, right, make those kinds of decisions. It's best for you to go into a place and tear a soul out of you because, come on. Number 14, the child makes abuse or neglect claims that are unfounded or implausible. I said that. Right? You start making these accusations because I'm with her now. You start making these accusations because something as simple as you got a call from the school about something. He's not, or well, I don't know everything. You don't know everything. You going to blame me for something the child did at school? I'm at work. But you can do something like that and be like, oh, he's kids. This is what kids do. Help me out here. Right? Everything that we do as fathers is always so screwed up. We're so stupid. We're so irresponsible. But y'all do the same exact things. And your justification is, well, if you was here helping, we wouldn't have this issue. 15, the child rewrites the past and denies positive memories with you. Listen, I'm going to say this one again. The child rewrites the past and denies positive memories with you. You do all these things, and nobody said that you did them. It was shown that you did them. It wasn't a rumor. You did it with the child. You went to these places with the child. You put this directly in the child's hand. The child stayed with you. None of that stuff matters. So they're in the same condition as the mother, because the mother is the primary caretaker. In most cases, the father wants structure. No, we're not doing it like this. I want this, because we know what comes with an unstructured agreement. We know the chaos that's going to be coming. We know that. We put things in place and structure because we have to protect ourselves. We're made to feel that way by every inch of the system. Number 16, the child takes on the role of caretaker for the other parent. Yeah. And a lot of times the parents will do that to make themselves the victim. They continue to act like the victim because it's easier, because they don't want to take responsibility for their lives. Again, the capacity that a person is in. Everybody who gets pregnant is not in the capacity. You, as the person who got pregnant, you don't have any option because you have it other than keeping it or terminating it, right? But when you have it, having a child doesn't mean you have the capacity to mother the child. Number 17, one parent becomes the hero and the other can do nothing right. Listen, you have to begin to take an honest look at everything. You have to be honest with yourself. The child can still be freed, even if they're adult. If you know that you have contributed to the negative perception, the negative perspective that the child has of the father, fix it. Fix it. Go sit down with the child and talk to the child. But the reality of it is, how much do you even know about your own humanity if you can't sit down and say, listen, at that time, that's where he was young, he was this, he was that, or, whatever the case was, where he was selling drugs when I met him, I expected him to do other like, it's not to a fault. That's what he was doing to help himself, you know what I'm saying? And that's what he knew. That's his capacity. If he's still selling them, that's his capacity. If there are concerns about taking the child here, there, and another because of a lifestyle, that's a discussion to be had. Especially in this day and age where children and women and elderly people are not off limits in the street. Yeah, they're doing drive-bys with your child in your hand. Right? But it's a conversation that can simply be had. Just have the conversation. Have the conversation. Hey, that's the end of the list of 17 signs of parental alienation. If it's happening, start having those conversations. Start documenting things happen when things happen. Hey, listen, if you got to wear a body cam or park your car and so it's in front of it, the interactions take place, and now use these things, man. You ain't got to take your phone in. See, this is what we got to do. No. You put the thing in your car. You got a unit that goes in your car to watch at the back and the front. Back up so you can see the picture of the view of what's happening with y'all. Right? Park in front of them and conduct everything in the purview of their camera. Listen, the purview. In the view of, I think about 9 things at one time. Under your purview, guidance, direction, all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, all you listen. Protect yourself. That's the bottom line. Protect yourself, pay attention, move quickly. The longer you tolerate something, it becomes habit. Once it becomes habit, now it's the practice between us. Like I told you, there's policy and then there's practice. You have to know the difference. Understand and learn what policy is. There's a lot of family practices. You can just call them up and you can ask them for advice, come in, sit there, do a free consultation, and they'll walk you through it. And they'll give you a plan. Like, okay, listen, so in order for us to go to court, we need for these things to be in place. So now you have a plan, right? Stop trying to do the back and forth. It's not going to change. It will never change. If the person wanted it to be different or to change, they would have done it. Sometimes you need bracelet therapy. You need a few days in lockup so you can get it together. Some days you need to be, ordered by the court to do particular things. And sometimes that's the jarring experience. Whatever it may be, that's your child. I wish somebody would have had conversations with me early on about parenthood, but nobody has those conversations with anybody. Then you don't have examples. Then you do have examples. And then you just make your decisions, because when you're coming into self, you're not looking at those kind of things. You're just trying to grow up. You just want to do things that they said you can do when you grow up. When you turn 18, when you turn 15, when you turn 30. That's all it is. They're setting goals for you. And then when it's time for you to set goals for yourself, you're not prepared to do it, because they already did it for you. Now you're 18 and you got kicked up out. Now you don't know what to do. And then you get pregnant. And then you think you're going to go back home. No. Absolutely not. That's your child. You give the child the explanation and reason for why you came into this situation. Hey, listen, as always, y'all can be doing anything else on a Sunday morning at 10 o'clock. Here you are with me. I appreciate it wholeheartedly. Look for the post. Look for the post. I will, I'm making a lot of changes with Daddy's right here. Live. Got some stuff on the back burner. Pay attention. Riviera Beach, West Palm Beach. Look out. Classes are coming. Free classes are also coming. Yeah. So, thank y'all so much for your support. Hey, man, listen. Right here, right now. Stop it. Peace. Hey, if you're on Facebook, make sure you check that little pocketbook down there in the corner of the screen. Click on it. It'll open up some stuff for you. Yeah. And it'll stay there. Once the show ends, it'll still stay there. And go ahead and go to alienforyou.net. Do some shopping. Making a lot of changes on the site itself. We are not a t-shirt printing company. What we create is art. Art. One of a kind designs. 75 of each item made. After the 75th one, the design goes into the vault. There will be no more. Yes. Creatively, artistically designed. You will never see our designs. There's another one back here. You'll be introduced to that collection real soon. You'll be able to get prints. You'll be able to get a t-shirt, hoodie, wall art. Yeah, you'll be able to get that. Yeah. Stuff that you see sitting behind me, we do those. Those you can get at our pop-up shops. Stay tuned for the pop-up shops. I'm getting ready to start printing this week. Start getting stuff printed and ready for our first pop-up. So those things, I've got some other things here I'm gonna show you. You know, license plates, all those things. I just got a new jacket in the other day. The stuff that just came in. Another jacket just came in. This is a plate, an auto plate that goes on the front of your vehicle. This is from the high maintenance collection. You will not be able to get these at our online store. You will not be able to get tumblers at our online store. You will only be able to get those at our pop-up shops. Yeah. You will only be able to get those at our pop-up shops. So everything is being shifted around and moving around. What we sell is a message. Our art is a message. I want you to understand that. Talk to you soon. Peace. TikTok. See you later.